I decided to become an RA because it gives an opportunity to help freshmen. A lot of times freshmen don't know what their aim is, they don't have a lot of direction, so becoming an RA gives you an opportunity to help people who don't have any connections yet on campus. It's certainly a help. With the room and board being paid for, a lot of my time isn't meeting with students, but it's making myself available. So office hours, I spend in my office, being available to answer questions, meet any needs that come up. At times programming is a part of the job, or doing rounds in the evenings. The most difficult thing about being an RA is it's difficult to meet the needs that people have when they don't feel comfortable yet looking for help with them, or when they're not sure how to interact with you as an RA. It makes it more difficult because there's a bit of a barrier they have just because of the position of an RA. There's maybe some intimidation. So the most difficult thing, I think, is establishing relationships of trust with the residents. It doesn't interfere with other responsibilities, but it's important to set aside time because I can't be an effective RA if I am never in my room, if I don't have set aside time to be available to the residents. So it doesn't get in the way, but it's something that I plan for. A large part of my time goes to my schooling. I'm in a somewhat difficult major, so I spend a lot of time with academics, and I spend a lot of time with my church and campus ministry. So really those three responsibilities, academics, my work, and the campus ministry, occupy most of my time. It's most difficult to be an RA near finals week each semester, because at those times I want to be helpful to my residents who are preparing for finals. They may be checking out of their room or preparing to move out. There are a lot of questions to ask, and at the same time I'm a student, so I'm working to prepare for finals. So that's when it's most difficult to balance. Being an RA gives you a lot more access to people and allows you to build relationships in ways that I don't think any other job on campus does, especially because you really get an opportunity to meet a good cross-section of students. So there aren't, rather than just getting to know certain student groups, you can really meet a wide range of diverse people. I think I've had a lot of personal growth in my ability to interact with people who are different culturally or in their personalities. An RA has a role to get to know people regardless of what they're like. So it gives me an opportunity to get to know people I might not otherwise meet. Maybe they would otherwise be really busy with other involvement on campus, or maybe they'd be more introverted and I wouldn't get a chance to meet them. So being an RA gets me the opportunity to meet all those different people. Working as an RA, in some ways it's easy to meet with people on campus because I live on campus. Most people here don't continue to live on campus after their freshman year. So it's easy to meet with people for group projects, but at the same time I have time commitments that most of my peers don't have. And socially it gives me an opportunity to meet more people. I think typically people their freshman year get to know those on their floor or in Greek life or other clubs, and then beyond freshman year they really don't meet very many people except in their majors in group projects. But being an RA, I get a chance every year to continue to meet at least 70 new people. So that helps. More time would make the job easier for me, and residents with more time if residents were always here on the floor, it would be much easier to get to know them and be helpful to them. But of course they're involved in other places too, which makes it more difficult to get to know them. I think it's worthwhile for people to know that they're cared for, that if they're going through a difficult couple of weeks, that someone does care, is willing to listen, can get them some resources if that would be helpful. I think that's a win to me if people know that they have a resource that's living on the same floor as them, who's willing to get them any kind of help or just listen. I've learned that certain skills that I'm lacking that relate to the job, it's important for me to anticipate that, compensate, work extra hard. For instance, programming for me is difficult. I don't have the easiest time organizing, planning programs to meet some of our community learning goals. So that's just an area that I have to set aside extra time to make sure I do well. I feel about the job actually largely the same now that I did in the beginning. My hope is still to be a resource to freshmen and to help them get connected with the community, and for myself to get to know them, because that's really valuable to me. I do have some role models. A few RAs have been role models to me. Some people in my church and campus ministry, and my parents, of course. There's one RA I really look up to, who's here. Yeah, she'll be graduating next year, but I try to follow her professionalism and use that same professionalism in my work. I think a successful RA is available and able to meet the needs that residents have as they come up, and also has gotten to know residents enough that they feel comfortable letting the RA know if an issue arises. I think that's success. My sleep schedule was very disrupted by being an RA, especially on nights when a lot of people are getting in trouble. Rounds can take longer, so I can't get to bed when I'd like to, and it still is difficult for me, and it takes a couple days to adjust back. I really think that's the most difficult. The meal plan goes a lot farther than I thought it would. 150 exchanges and 550 points. A lot of my residents aren't on the floor Thursday or Friday nights, and some of those nights I just like to go to my room, read a book, take a nap, eat some cheese, unwind, listen to Spotify, a wide range. I'm into electronica right now. I don't. I started using a planner this year. That's been helpful. I really just have to be diligent and careful with my time, because otherwise I'll end up neglecting. Usually academics is the first thing that I neglect. No, usually when a student wants to become an RA to pay for part of their, to pay for their housing and their food, they'll only be an RA for about 1 year and they won't enjoy it. Or they'll just do a terrible job. So, no, I don't think so. I think people should become RAs who really do want to, who think the work is valuable. The process is kind of long. It involves applying to take an RA class, enrolling in the semester-long 3-hour class, and then interviewing. For me, it all was worthwhile because I was applying and taking the class seriously, anticipating that I would have the job. So it was worthwhile for me. For some who aren't sure whether they want to be an RA, they take the class, maybe don't even end up applying. I can see how that can be frustrating, but I think that's the reason that they require a long process, so that people who do apply are genuinely interested in the position. I think an RA needs to care. Integrity is important. Diligence is important. But I think integrity covers it all. Because if you're applying for the job, you're applying for the job because you want to help students, if you have integrity, then you really do want to help students. If you don't have integrity, it may be that you're not actually interested in helping students. You just want free room and board. And then in a lot of your work, there are things that you do that no one will check up on. So it's really important, I think, for an RA to have integrity. I've really enjoyed being an RA personally because many of my coworkers are expressive, really easy to get to know, tend to be extroverted, and I'm an introvert, so I really enjoy being around a lot of extroverts, and it's helped me to get a lot of experience working on a diverse team, which I think will be really helpful in the future for me.